Hey guys, welcome to another B-Rocks video. If you are new to my channel, my name is Mark. I am a teacher and a baseball coach during the day, and in my part-time, I am an eBay and Amazon reseller. This is part 4 for the beginning eBay seller, or if you are somebody who has had an eBay store going already, maybe you can get something out of this video as well. So it's not just for the new eBay seller, but maybe for someone who has just started within the last few months, last year or so, or maybe even somebody who's been around for 6 years or so like myself. Maybe you can get something from this video. If so, comment below, tell me what you learned, or if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. So in part 1 for the beginning eBay seller, I mentioned about things around the house that you could find to sell to help build your cash, to start for little to no cost. In the second video, I mentioned that now that you have that cash, you now can do some quick flips, things like athletic clothing, t-shirts, hats, baseball caps like I'm wearing, and maybe even other things that you figured out that sell quick from that group of things that you picked up around the house to flip. And then in video 3, we were going for some more longer tail type items, the dress shirts, golf clothing, shoes, and once again, anything else that you may have figured out by cleaning out your closet, your garage, attic, or whatever, and you got those ideas and went out to thrift stores, garage sales, and figured out what was selling. So now, in video 4, what is it we're going to do? Well, we are going to take and continue to mix long tail items with quick flips, and really now try to front load our store, build it up, and get it to where it's really becomes a daily type store that's generating cash. So before I get into items that you can flip for long tail that will bring you higher profits, let's talk about where you're at with the number of items in your store. New sellers, non-store subscription sellers now can have 50 items, I believe, for free, list them for free up front, without paying, I think it's the 15-cent per listing fee. So maybe you are near that. Maybe you have more items than that now. Maybe you have a significant amount of items past that. Maybe you've built up to 100 or more. It's probably time to buy into the low-level store subscription. I don't know what that is now. I know they've changed it. I didn't go back and look. I probably should have done that, but they've changed. I think there is a lower-level store than what I started out with 6 years ago, and but the thing is, there is a calculator where you can figure that out yourself to see if it's worth getting the basic level store, or just any level store that you need. And right now I'm at the store that allows me to list 1,000 items per month in the fixed category, and 500 auction style listings without paying any listing fees. But that's where I need to be right now, and I'm not going to need to be at the next level. I hope someday I'm going to be able to go to the next level store, because the next store gives you 10,000 items to list without having to pay the listing fee. So yeah, I hope I build up to that someday, but I don't know. And so just go there, figure out what's best for you. But the idea is to grow, and when you consider growing, it's not just about how many items you're going to have to list. You've got to be very considerate of the real estate that you have in regards to being able to store the items. A significant other, your spouse, your partner, whoever, make sure that they're on board with what areas of space you're going to be taken up with, because this needs to be a stress-free extra income type deal, or maybe building toward your main income. You don't need to take on the added stress of just really loading up your house, and also having the relationship problems from just packing stuff into the bedrooms, the attics, the garage, and all that. So make sure you have that down up front. So what you want to do in regards to items is, now that you have an idea of the quick flips, the longer tail items like the dress shirts, the golf clothing, and the shoes, and whatever else long tail items that you have found. You you want to try to bulk those up. For me, it's going on Goodwill Dollar Day to garage sales, buying dress shirts for $1 or less, picking up kids' shoes for a couple of bucks, hats for 50 cents to $1, and just buying those as much as I can. I do have an attic space to store dress shirts and even jeans. I forgot to mention jeans, men's and women's jeans. I consider those longer tail type items, but I do pick those up fairly often, and I have shelves that I keep my jeans on. I have racks that I keep my dress shirts hanging on. So I just really load up and build up my store items, and what happens is that you reach a point where they may be taking longer to sell, but you do reach a point, like I have I think almost 900 items in my store right now. The longer tail items are selling like every day, 1 item, 2 items, sometimes a few more. But these are items that I've started to list months ago, but I've built up that inventory. As you can see, what happens is along the way, the quick flips are happening, as well as the 1, 2, 3 or more long tail item sales a day. And that's the point you want to get to. That's the point where it's a continuous cash flow and your store is growing, the profits are growing, and it's just a beautiful spot to be in. And I hope that you're getting there or get there soon. Some suggestions I have as far as not just the long tail items are focus on the season. You know, athletic wear, those are quick flips, but try to really load up on that in December and prep for the New Year's resolution, people making the resolution of getting in better shape. I sell a ton of athletic wear in late December and January because people are having those New Year's resolutions. You know, think about it. You know, people make those resolutions, and they want that athletic gear, and they buy from you, and then along the way, if their workouts are working, they're going to remember who they bought from, and you may get some repeat buyers because as they get down to new sizes, they're going to need some new athletic wear. After a couple months or so, their sizes change. They remember they bought from you. They go to those sold listings or their purchase items, and they want to go back to that seller that they trust because they love that pair of yoga pants they bought from, or they love that pair of shorts or shirts or whatever that they bought from, or that they bought from that seller, and so they're coming back. And two, you know, probably got a good price from you. Okay, so you know, think about that. Areas that you have expertise in, collectibles. Some of you all collect things. You know, you can really, you know, I collect baseball cards. That's been a passion of mine since I was an 8-year-old boy, and I know that area. It's a tough area to profit in. It really is. I know some of you think not. Some of you you may have a lot of years experience in that, like myself, but for many people it is. But that's the same could be said for me trying to get into coins. I know nothing about coins. I have some coins, you know, collectible type coins, but it was passed down to me from my father when he passed, but I know nothing about coins. Now, some of you may know that, you know the market, so start venturing into the areas of collectibles and the things that you maybe have a little bit of expertise in, and don't just settle for the knowledge that you have currently, but also even read up and study the current market, and you could find some things in those areas that you can flip. You can find deals on Facebook Marketplace or going out to flea markets, peddlers malls, and obviously garage sales, yard sales, and occasionally you find some pretty good collectibles in thrift stores. So it's gotten a little harder because there's so many treasure hunters out there, but just having expertise in whatever collectible it is, and continue to learn and stay up to date with the market, that could really help you out. Toys, I'm actually new in the toys category myself. I like to take, and this is good advice too, I like to take one area at a time and try to grow and learn all I can in that area before I move on to something else, because once I gain that knowledge, I have that in my arsenal to go out and I get better at spotting things in that category. So I'll move on to next. So right now it's toys for me, and I'm focusing on plush toys right now. I know Girl Hustle, Patty, I haven't seen your video yet. I know you did a video recently on plush toys. I need to check that out because you just come out with that video right when I was thinking about starting to focus on toys and get into specifically focusing on plush toys. And I've done well. I'm gonna make a video on that soon about some things that I've bought, and I want to show those off. And so be sure to comment on that, Patty, when you see what I bought, and let me know how I've done. All right. Also, essential items, everyday items that people need. I don't flip things that much in those areas when it comes to tools, and if it's makeup or cleaning products, things like that. I know some people do well with selling those things on not just eBay but Amazon. But some of you may be able to source essential items and be able to look on eBay and see what it is that's selling, things that you may have access to because of a local wholesale dealer or a flea market that has those things for cheap that maybe you can buy in bulk. Be looking out for those. Electronics. I'm new to selling electronics. I've been doing it for about a month or so now. They yield bigger profits, but that's another item or another area that you could focus on to get those larger margins. But I encourage you, if it's electronics you want to try out, don't try to venture into electronics and things like antique items and toys and all that all at once. Try to focus on that area, especially with electronics, because you're going to get returns on some of those electronics. Even though you may test them and think that they're working fine, things happen in shipment, or it may be just a small feature that you didn't notice that didn't work once the electronic gets there, but that person who's using it every day notices it within your return policy time, and so they want to send it back. It can be frustrating, but even with the returns, electronics can be very profitable because the profit margin can be so large. You're picking up a VCR DVD combo for $5 to $10 at a thrift store, and then flipping it for $70 or more plus shipping. That's a pretty good profit margin, and it's worth taking the risk. It's worth dealing with the occasional returns that you're going to get. And vintage items. I love vintage. When I say vintage items, I'm not talking about just clothing, but I'm talking about throw antiques in there. Iron. I like cast iron type things. Anytime I see something that's cast iron, I typically buy it if the price is within reason. I typically find things like iron bases and iron crosses and things like that for $10 or less. They can be $40-$50 or more depending on how ornate they are and what kind of manufacturing label that's imprinted in the iron and so forth. But that's, some of you may have somewhat of an expertise or know a little bit about something within antiques, maybe not antiques in general, but maybe just a specific area. That's just something that's another long tail type item that you can put in your store for a larger margin that may sit. And my antique items I'll let sit for a year or two. But I will tell you this: if it's something that caught your eye, it's likely to catch somebody else's eye, and eventually that right person will come along and buy it. So I don't mind getting those items, and those will be stored in my building that's separate of my house. I'll take out and just put in there and tuck it away and let it sit. So I'm going to give you some examples of items specifically that I have in my inventory that are long tail type things, and just other stuff of what I've mentioned already that I'm doing. So let's take a look at examples of toys, and I threw video games out here too that I currently have in my store. Some things I know, the Luke Skywalker action figure I've not listed yet, nor the Mario Some things I'm saving to the fourth quarter, getting closer to Christmas, because they'll yield a little more, and they're very small. I can keep them stored out of the way. It's no big deal. I don't need to move those that fast. But as you can see, I focus on some really big names here, and Thomas the Train, I always do well with that. I always pick those up when I can. These little engines are just $1 a piece. I usually sell them for anywhere between 14 to 20 bucks. Some of the rare ones will go for a little more. Focus on the Halo series. These are all, some of the best selling things that are out there. The Halo name, these and Mega Blocks, that's what these are. But Halo Mega Blocks figures will go for 20 to 30 bucks. I just paid $6 for these recently, and I actually just listed these in my store today. Same goes for Ninja Turtles. Once again, Mega Blocks. Some of these things they're not being made anymore. They're kind of like how Legos are, in the sense that these toys have been retired. I've got this currently listed for $34.99. I think I paid $4 for it. It should sell for that. Cars, as we get closer to Christmas, people looking more for cars items, and it doesn't have to be Christmas. It could be birthday coming up. There are not a whole lot of these that are actually listed on eBay right now, and I think mine is actually the cheapest. I paid $1.50 for it, and I've got it for sale, I think, for $12 or $13 plus shipping. But you take a kid that has a birthday coming up, this nice little soap and scrub set would be great to throw in there for a birthday. And Mario, once again, it's just little Mario action figures. I actually should have got my Fire Mario out, where he's throwing a little fireball. It's more rare to find, and the Ice Mario. But Mario is one of the top 10 selling brand names of all time, and so is Star Wars. And same goes for some of these others. They may not be top 10, but they're pretty close. There's some video games out here too, to show you some of these examples. These are not really fast selling video games, but I may just make $2 or $3 off some of these games. But I pick them up just about every time I see them, because even though I have more expensive games that I sell and sell quicker, these are longer tail items that will sit in the store, and you may think, well, why would you mess with them if it's just a few dollars profit? Because I like when people do buy those rare games, they also look and see that I have a decent inventory of games, because I'm looking for them to come back. So I like for them to see that I have a decent amount of games, and and I try to have a wide range of names, or titles of games, because even though they may be searching for, let's say, Little Big Planet, for example, it draws them into the store, and then they'll browse the rest of them. Same goes for these toys. I try to include a wide range of not just brands, but just different types of toys, because once somebody gets in there, I want them looking around, and who knows, they may end up buying a few things. I've had it happen before, or they come back in the future. Now, this is not a toy, but it's a kid type item, type of Elmer's glue. It goes on purple, dries clear, little sticks. I got these. This is kind of an essential item that I was talking about. I know a lot of schools are not opening in person right now, but I bought these ahead of school starting, just for 25 cents a piece. I have, I don't know, a couple dozen in this bag, I think. But it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of an essential item that for just 25 cents a piece. And I may move some, I may not move all of them, but I don't really care, because these are things that my son can use, who's just going into 3rd grade this year, and or just little family projects when me and my wife and son just do little activities where we create things. It's just things that we can use ourselves if it don't sell. So, but let's move on and let's look at a few vintage or antique items. All right, after searching through my inventory, I realized I don't have a whole lot of vintage items currently, and a lot of that has been due to COVID canceling some of the bigger yard sale events in my area, including a 500-mile yard sale along the highway that is near my home. That's where I usually pick up a lot of older things, and right now this is my only iron piece in my inventory, and this thing easily weighs, I'd say 10 to 15 pounds. It's a flag base, and there is no maker's mark on it, but it does have a number 2. I don't have this listed in my store yet, but it's kind of a cool piece that I think I will be able to sell for at least $50 and have the person pay shipping. And as you can see, I paid $7 for it. And this is a vintage backgammon set. I don't have it listed yet. Actually, it's, I think, missing a couple of the little play pieces, but it's pretty cool. It's a leather case. You're looking at a 1960s type game. It's probably, I'd say, $20 plus shipping. I doubt it will. It doesn't seem like it's one of the more rare type of backgammon games, so I doubt if I can get more with that. And I do well with auto manuals, older auto manuals. I know the Prius one is not necessarily that old, but I pick up some of these Haynes repair manuals, and sometimes that are in the 80s, 90s for a couple of dollars or so, and I'll flip them for $15 to $20 or more. I did get my one DVD and VHS combo out, Sylvania. I paid, I think, $5.99 for it. I think I currently have it listed for $60 plus shipping. Kind of a vintage electronics cross here, and some of my favorite things to sell are patches. These are a lot of Boy Scout patches that I have. Most of these I actually have taken off the shirts. A little reseller hack here. Take off the sewn patches, and then the plain shirts, the navy blue, olive green, and beige shirts. I've sold the Boy Scout plain shirts from the 1950s all the way up until the 1990s for anywhere from $15 or more. I know I've sold some 50s versions up to I think as high as $40, maybe 45, or maybe it was the pants. I don't remember now, but I take the patches off of them and sell the patches individually or in a lot, just depending on, if I have some that are a little more rare, I'll just sell them individually. One of my best flips ever actually came in and I don't just sell Boy Scout patches, by the way. I sell a lot of different types of patches, but one of the best flips I had was a bag that I bought at Goodwill for $3, and I had an Oregon State Police patch from the 1950s and a couple of Boy Scout patches that I flipped for nearly $300. I sold them individually. The Oregon State Police patch alone brought $150 itself. It's one of my all-time favorite flips from my reselling journey on eBay. So, but yeah, a little reselling hack there. Take and remove the patches, and then sell the shirts individually, and then sell the patches. I mean, you're buying the shirt for a couple of dollars or so at a thrift store, and I'm going to sell the shirt for $15 or more, and then on top of it, sell the patches. You're making really good off those. So be on the lookout for those. You can still find them out and about. I've picked these up just in the last few months. I think I've picked up a couple of Boy Scout shirts, so be looking for those. Hey guys, so what you have seen are just some quicker type flips that I'm selling, and we're moving away from the quick flips. Now we're doing long tail type items that are building up our store, because now we want to get to that beautiful spot of, as we're building our store inventory, we're selling those quick flips as we do that. And you want to get to that point where you're seeing your items grow in your store and you're making money along the way. Each week right now, in the spot that I'm in, I am making more than I'm spending, and I'm buying a lot right now each week. And I have my store built up to almost 900 items. I hope it's a goal. I don't know if I'll get there or not, but I hope by Christmas I can see my store up to about 1,500 items or so. And in order to get there, I've got to be buying things that are going to sit a little bit longer. And I'm not necessarily referring to the lower cost items like the dress shirts. I'm referring to, I need to get more vintage items in my store. I need to get more electronics. I need to get more, just things that are going to yield a bigger profit, but it's going to take them to sit a little while to do that. So my best advice to you is to never stop learning. Please keep coming back and checking out my videos. I'm always going to be producing these videos of what's selling, and some bolos, and so check me out. Check out some other YouTubers out there that are much bigger and better than what I'm doing. I still currently learn from them. I watch YouTube videos almost every day and try to teach myself something new to be on the lookout for. So please do the same. And also, you know, at some point you need to decide if you really want to niche it out to where you sell something specifically, or if you just want to be a general store like I am. And there is no right answer. But what I mean is that both of those are correct. Both of those work well. It's just you need to decide what it is that you want to do. If it's just clothing, if it's just vintage or antique items. But at some point, you're gonna come to that crossroad, and you need to decide if you want to niche or if you want to be a store like myself. And the reason I chose what I do is because I'm someone who has a ton of different interests. I mean, I'm talking about, like, I know, as my wife says, know a lot about nothing. And she says that because it just seems like she's always saying that it seems like I just have all these different interests that I just kind of rotate through. And that's just part of my personality, part of the way I am. So my store reflects that. And so my store actually works to my advantage because I do know a lot about different things. And so when I go out, my mind is just rapid fire when I move from clothing to books to toys to electronics. And if you're not like that, maybe you don't need that type of store. Maybe you do need to reach a point as you build your cash up that you start spilling all that money into a pot of just buying all clothing, or buying all electronics. Maybe at some point you figure out that trading cards is your thing, or coins, or whatever. Some of you have an expertise in something that probably far exceeds what I know about baseball cards. If that's the case, it may be to your advantage. But figure out what works well for you, what keeps you interested, what keeps you motivated and getting up every day with that fire to go out and just get things done, because that's what's going to matter. That's what's going to keep you lasting. That's what's going to keep you going for the long haul and not burning out and giving up. Guys, I've been doing this for over 6 years. My fire is just as hot now as it was when I started 6 years ago. And it's not just about the store itself, but it's about what the store has helped me and my family do. It's helped my wife move from her counseling job to running her own Etsy and Facebook business. It's allowed us to pay off our home, get out of debt. You know, it's just allowed us to get to this beautiful spot in our lives. So, you know, it's about just digging down and winning these little battles along the way, and checking off these goals, and just setting new goals, and just keep going after that, and that'll keep the fire going, plain and simple. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this series for the beginning eBay seller, and please like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and join me in my journey. I've done it for 6 years. I hope to do it for a lot more. Let's be rocking it out together. See you guys.